Hi, I'm Insaaf Mohideen. I'm an investment banker, having done everything from angel investments, venture capital, currently running a hedge fund out of New York and San Francisco. I'm featured on today's episode of Ask Me on High TV. So the first segment of the show is called Actually Me. I have no clue what's going to be asked of me, so it should be fairly interesting. Ask me.
Hi, Insaaf.
Hi.
What would be the one word to describe yourself?
Dreamer.
What was your upbringing like?
So I had a very typical South Asian upbringing, so a Sri Lankan family as we grew up in Dubai. One key thing that was instilled in me that I'm very grateful for up until this date is the fact that we were taught to respect every individual as a human being. What their background was, what their pedigree was, really does not play into your interaction and how you basically value a human being.
What is your silliest fear?
My silliest fear is getting into a pool and basically being attacked by a shark. And I got to blame that on my parents. As a 3-year-old, they take me to watch Jaws at a cinema. Who the hell takes a 3-year-old to watch Jaws? So since then, I can get into the ocean, no problem, because there isn't clarity of water. But I get into a pool with a pair of goggles, it petrifies me.
Have you ever made a decision that changed your entire life? If so, what was it?
Oh, absolutely. There have been a ton of those decisions, but I think one of the key decisions that I made early on in life that set my direction in terms of where, when, what was I decided to go to the US. And it definitely changed who and what in terms of my narrative.
What have you always wanted to try but never found the courage to do?
I've just got one thing that I'm working towards at this point, which is climb Everest. So I'm basically targeted to climb Everest 2022. And recently, just talking to some friends, etc., we were basically thinking, hey, tons of people doing Everest at this juncture. What's the scariest thing to do if you were to scale Everest? Do Everest without oxygen. So guess what? That's what I'm doing now.
What was your most memorable birthday?
Probably this one. So I turned 45 a month before my birthday. We were like, hey, what do? We thought, we looked up all the party cities in the world, Berlin, New York, etc. And then, I'm like, you know what? I live on the beach in Malibu, which turns into a huge party on the 4th of July. And my birthday is on the 3rd, so I'm like, you know what, we can have a 24-hour celebration. So that's what we did. So we hired a DJ, we had a valet guys basically come and park up all the cars, and a 24-hour party.
What could you spend all day talking about?
So I can pretty much talk about most things all day, but the one thing that I am passionate that I can just keep going on about is cars. I love cars, anything to do with cars, restoration, remodeling, buying cars, just researching cars, racing cars, so cars, anything, yeah.
Who is your favorite sportsman?
So in terms of sports, growing up, I was massively into tennis. So for some reason, to this date, Boris Becker. But then in fairness to most other sports figures, I'm not very much into sports in general, outside of car racing. So today, if you ask me, a lot of the F1 racers are straight up there. So Lewis Hamilton's, probably my modern day hero.
How would your family describe you?
That's a tough one. I think if I think about it, depending on who you ask, definitely stubborn. Historically, very stubborn, very moody as a kid. So, very decisively stubborn.
What would your perfect outfit consist of?
I love t-shirts. Over the years, it's just gotten to a point where I've figured out how to spend crazy money on t-shirts.
If you could share a meal with any 3 individuals, living or dead, who would they be?
Definitely Bill Clinton. He's an individual I've met a few times, and I just have a ton of respect for how he connects with people, how genuine he is, how real he is, despite Warren Buffett, because I'm a spender. So, I love making money, but I also tend to be a spender, and I'm known amongst my friends, family for just spending stupid. And then the third individual probably would be Michelle Obama. And her background, her family, I'm very proud of it. So I think that's something that's huge. Being a dad for 2 girls, having a role model like that this day and age is huge.
Where is your happy place?
My happy place is any beach. Give me a beach. Actually, I'll take that back because you got to give me a beach sans the humidity. So, I can't enjoy a beach in Sri Lanka. It'll drive me crazy.
What is the most impressive skill you have?
The most impressive skill I have is basically being able to make split-second decisions, go with my gut. But I also think that's what's burnt me in a lot of instances. Now, a lot of my successes can be attributed to it, but I can also attribute a lot of failures and a lot of issues that I've had with relationships, etc., because I'm very impulsive. I'll make a decision very quickly without much afterthought.
What is the best professional advice you have ever received?
I had this mentor from Vietnam. He had just come in from Vietnam on a secondment. He was my mentor. He just said, some humility in everything that you do makes it a lot easier for people to accept you, to work with you and collaborate with you. So I think that was the single biggest thing that helped me over the years, is just check myself before I wreck myself in terms of arrogance and pride.
What is the best way to run a meeting?
So if you do have to have meetings, have very directed meetings with small groups of individuals that stays on point. And I find it very useful to actually have a meeting jockey. So I have someone who will basically hold everyone accountable. So we will never meet without an agenda and run it exactly down to the minute how much time each person gets, and run it down to an agenda and keep meeting short and sparse. You'll get a lot more productivity.
What is the hardest business challenge you ever confronted?
The biggest challenges that I've faced and matured from are this healthcare startup I've had over the past 15 years, and now it's grown into a multi-million-dollar business that's basically generates probably in excess of 20 million a month in terms of revenue.
What is your investment with Instagram?
So I'm an angel investor. So for those of you who don't know what angel investments is, it's basically the high risk taking dumb investments that people make. So people like me, when they have an idea presented to them on a piece of paper, you invest money. So there isn't the technology there. You don't even know if the guys can actually execute on it, but you basically make a seed level investment so that they have the money to be able to hire people, developers, whatnot, and then basically get the idea to a point where there's either a prototype or a beta that then they can take to other smarter investors in the venture capital realm. So that was my involvement. So Instagram, early stage investor, along with 22 other individuals. So this is a very, very interesting segment for me. It actually made me think a couple times and pause when some of the questions were posed. Very holistic in terms of diving deep into someone's thought process, how they think, how they behave, where they're from. So I thought it was very comprehensive and I enjoyed it. So the next segment's called Who Am I? Essentially, what we're going to do is go through this board of questions. I'm going to peel the questions as I go along. I've never seen them before, so it'll be interesting answering them. What would Insaaf do if he was the president of Sri Lanka? I would definitely work on bringing in qualified individuals for the various roles. So one of the biggest beefs that I have is a lot of our leadership is pretty much 65 plus, and that's a big problem for a country like Sri Lanka. We can leverage that to be an essential financial hub, logistical hub, and a technological hub, and none of that's happening today because there isn't the foresight and there isn't the understanding of the modern trends. What was Insaaf's dream job growing up? So I come from a family of bankers, so I dreamt of being a retail banker. So my dad was a retail banker, watched him go day in, day out in a suit. That's what I wanted to be. Unfortunately, I lean more towards investments, so I go to work in a t-shirt and jeans. What is Insaaf's dream car? Porsche. Actually, 8-year-old living in Dubai, I used to watch the races, the desert rallies, and the Porsche just caught my attention. It was a gray Porsche with black trims, and ever since that day, I've just been in love with Porsches, so that's the dream car. How would Insaaf's best friend describe him? Impossible to deal with, very moody, does not take advice. Insaaf's an introvert or an extrovert. So that's the irony. Everything I do requires me to be an extrovert, but in personal life, I'm an introvert. So I'm an extroverted introvert. If Insaaf could be anyone in the world, who would he be? Honestly, I wouldn't trade my life for the world because I've had so many experiences. All my friends wait every weekend for stories from me, so I wouldn't trade those stories. What is Insaaf's idea of heaven? So idea of heaven is everything I want, right? So whether it be cars, women, just the whole 9 yards, it'd be a harem. What is Insaaf's favorite 3-word sentence? Everything's possible. What is the most impressive skill Insaaf has? I can actually run a mile in under 5 minutes. And that's pretty impressive given that I'm 45 and I got a lot of joint aching, etc., right? If Insaaf could live forever, how would he spend eternity? Actually, I would not want to live forever. That's a very scary thought. Have you guys seen 95, 100-year-old people? Can't do much at that age. What does Insaaf wish to see in Lanka? I actually want to see us basically be the next business hub, the next financial hub, and we have the ability to do that, right? So in the 80s, before the riots, Sri Lanka was directly on a trajectory to basically compete with Singapore. I think we go back on that trajectory, right up until about 3 to 4 years ago. I'd really love to see another Singapore or Hong Kong in Sri Lanka in terms of infrastructure, in terms of governance, in terms of prosperity. What is Insaaf's passion? For me, it's startups. Oh my God, everything about startups excites me. It's not so much the success that comes out of it or the money, it's just being around young people, the ideation process, the failures that come with it, the thought process that nothing is impossible. It's just amazing. What is the first thing Insaaf notices about people? So, unfortunately, I just notice clothes. I love clothes. And it's not so much, how expensive it is, it's just how well put together you are. I mean, you can spend a ton of money and still look like crap, or you can basically have a nice ensemble put together. So, anyone who's pulled a nice ensemble together, especially on the cheap, props. What really makes Insaaf angry? There's tons of things that make me angry. So like I said, I'm stubborn, so if things don't go my way, absolutely it's hell. Is Insaaf a clean or messy person? Actually, I'm extremely clean, almost to a point obsessive compulsive. Everything's got to be in its place. Is Insaaf a gym freak? I go for spin, yoga, but I hate going. I mean, it's just a means to an end. To stay in shape, it allows me to basically engage in all of the crazy things I do and my bad eating habits. But do I enjoy going and looking at myself in the mirror in a gym, basically pumping iron? Absolutely not. I'd much rather do other things. What would Insaaf do if he wins $1 million? Like most anyone else, I'd probably blow it on cars and probably some vacations. I don't know. I mean, today $1 million doesn't really buy you much, so I would much rather be winning like $1 billion. Is Insaaf in a relationship? No, I'm not. I got divorced about 2 years ago, and then at this point, I'm just enjoying my time. All right. What is Insaaf's fondest memory? So for me, recently, ironically, I had to reflect on this. Growing up, I have 2 brothers and a sister, and we shared one room growing up in Bumblebee. Sister had her own room, but she wouldn't sleep there, so we all basically had beds lined up, just dormitory style, and going to bed at night, we would just trade stories, fight with each other, and at that point, I didn't realize it would end up being some of the fondest memories, because that time never comes back. You go to college, you get married, you just can never recreate that. What motivates Insaaf? Just the idea that, you got to keep working hard, and, nothing's ever handed out to you in life. So, you either continue to go up in an upward trajectory or you go downwards. There's never stagnating, right? You can never go sideways. Anyone who thinks they go sideways, they're actually, probably disintegrating and falling apart. What made Insaaf invest in Sri Lanka? So earlier today, I was having a conversation. It was just, I wish it was a more well thought out strategy and patriotism that brought me back. But in fact, over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of countries in terms of setting up startup incubators, in terms of taking investment ideas and investment dollars. And as I was doing it in very obscure parts of the world, like, Bangladesh, parts of Africa, etc., I'm like, why haven't I taken this to Sri Lanka, That's home, motherland end of the day, and there's, infrastructurally, in terms of development, in terms of talent, a much better place to take it to. So hence, here I am. Does Insaaf cook? Oh yeah, I love cooking, and I actually bake as well. So it was something that comes very naturally to me. So if you give me almost any meal or any item, I can pretty much deconstruct it and take a very good shot at it. What are the top 3 goals in Insaaf's bucket list? I actually am an ultimate consumer. I am a thrillist, which means I just don't wait for tomorrow. Whether I can afford it, I can afford it. If an idea comes to my mind, I'm doing it. So 3 years ago, we were talking about Everest, we were watching the movie. I'm like, you know what, that'd be awesome to do. I've always wanted to do it, why not do it? 2 weeks ago, someone was talking about the Gumball 3000 race. They told me, hey, you can't get into it. There's an 8-week wait list. Guess what? I just got in, so no bucket lists. Does Insaaf believe in luck? Absolutely. I mean, different people may position it differently, but right time and place plays a huge role, right? I mean, we could all have the same background, the same exposures, and the same education, but it's just a matter of being in an elevator with someone, one fine day, or running into a particular person at a restaurant, or just having a freak accident that prevents you from doing something. So everything boils down to luck ultimately. So this second segment was who am I? A lot of thought-provoking questions for me. A lot of them I had actually not given thought to and made me think on my feet. So the last segment is never have I ever. I don't think I've played this since my days in the frat house, and the biggest challenge is going to be staying honest on it.
Never have I ever forgotten where I left my car.
I have. I mean, there's tons of malls these days where you got, just non-discrete parking, so everything looks the same, yeah, so multiple times.
Never have I ever purposely given someone the wrong direction.
Oh yeah, of course.
Never have I ever Googled my own name.
Oh, I have. It's always looking for information that might embarrass me, and so far I haven't found anything.
Never have I ever paid late fees on an overdue bill.
Never have. I'm a stickler for that.
Never have I ever written a book.
Not yet.
Never have I ever told a lie about something I really didn't do.
I have.
Never have I ever forgotten a loved one's birthday.
I've done it so many times now. I basically put it on Google Calendar. I have 5-day reminders, 3-day reminders, 2-day reminders, so yep.
Never have I ever done something on a dare.
Always.
Never have I ever catfished someone.
I've never done it.
Never have I ever gone nature camping in a tent.
I hate camping.
Never have I ever jumped into the water from a boat.
I have. It's an interesting story. We went, in college, a bunch of us went skinny dipping off of a boat.
Never have I ever had a crush on a teacher.
Many teachers from elementary all the way to college.
Never have I ever taken a trip on a train.
I've taken a ton of trips on trains, and so far never a great trip.
Never have I ever picked fruits from a neighbor's garden.
Oh yeah, growing up in Sri Lanka, jambu, mangoes from neighbors all the time.
Never have I ever gone to school without brushing my teeth.
Tons of times. My daughters actually have that problem too. My older daughter, you got to check her even at age 15. Hey, did you brush your teeth?
Never have I ever tried to run away from home.
I've never had the need to.
Never have I ever cried to get what I want.
I was more of a stubborn kid, so I would never cry, but I'd basically, throw temper tantrums.
Never have I ever got stitches.
I have. At age 3, I basically fell onto broken ceramic and had, the entire back half cut open and stitched.
Never have I ever made a duck face while taking a selfie.
I've never done that.
Never have I ever gone surfing.
I surf quite a bit.
Never have I ever fallen in love at first sight.
I've never fallen.
Never have I ever been awake for 2 days straight.
I have massive insomnia, so there's times I've been up 3-4 days straight, especially if I'm wired with an idea or I'm working on a project. I can basically stay up.
Never have I ever read a whole novel in one day.
Nah, that's my sister.
Never have I ever been screamed at by a customer at my job.
Had it done to me many times. They've been growth experiences.
Never have I ever worked with someone I hated with the burning fire of 1,000 suns.
I think we all go through that.
Never have I ever lied about a family member dying as an excuse to get out of doing something.
Come on. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Never have I ever broken the law.
I have broken the law.
Never have I ever eaten a whole pizza by myself.
I love pizza, especially cold pizza straight off the fridge. I'll kill a whole pie.
Never have I ever cried while watching a movie.
So up until 6 months ago, it would have been a no. But yeah, I had my first cry. It was A Star Is Born. I think it was a very, very surreal production. You almost felt like you were living the movie.
Never have I ever tried to make someone jealous.
All the time. I still do it.
Never have I ever tried losing weight.
This is a constant battle for all of us, especially given that I got a lot of bad eating habits. I'm constantly, trying to make sure that I stay in check.
Never have I ever admired myself in the mirror.
All the time, even today.
Never have I ever tried to sleep with my eyes open.
No, I've never tried that.
Never have I ever talked to myself when nobody was watching.
I have a habit of talking to myself all the time, especially before meetings or if I'm basically ideating.
Never have I ever driven through red lights.
I have, many times.
Never have I ever watched any Game of Thrones episodes.
I haven't. I'm probably the only person in the world that's never watched Game of Thrones.
Never have I ever cried in public.
I've never done that.
Never have I ever bought off-size clothes from the internet.
I'm a huge internet shopper, and yeah, I probably have a ton of clothes even sitting at home right now that, the shoe size doesn't work, or, bought European sizes instead of the American sizes, yeah.
Never have I ever woken up deep at night to eat something.
All the time.
Never have I ever wanted to be as clever as Bill Gates or Elon Musk.
I've never wanted that. I just enjoy my life way too much. That's too much eccentricity.
Never have I ever lied about my real age.
Actually, I'm very proud of my age because, I think I look a lot younger than my age, so been extremely proud of my age.
Never have I ever lied in this game.
Not yet. So walking in today, I had no clue what the format of this show was, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, although it was a little long, but the questions were very thought-provoking. The 3 segments actually broke it up and made it a lot of fun, and I'm actually looking forward to watching myself.